COPS program. COPS stands for Community Oriented Policing Services. There's a lot of grant money out there. And so I'm going to look at options for our district while we wait on the Center for Safer Schools to maybe release those funds. So, and then also going to work with the Madison County Sheriff's Department on updating our MOU for the next 3 years.
Excellent. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
The new budget should have, I think, the grant in it. I would hope that would fund that grant, because all districts are waiting for this opportunity, so the passing budget, hopefully, and then that'll be a part of it. Some other good things. And the COPS program, we've never done one, so good job.
Yeah,
Getting that set up. That's really good. So, excellent.
I know we're early on, but do we know if the SROs are staying the same, or if we're getting new ones?
So far, the same.
Awesome.
There may be a little bit of a transition or still elementary for certain days of the week, but
okay.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, it's my opportunity to recognize Rob Stenhouse. So Rob's done a lot of fancy drawings for us over the years, but I know he's been working really hard. I asked him how his Father's Day was this morning. I talked to him, he said, well, I was doing your drawings for you. No, watching soccer, right? So, no,
Soccer, yeah.
but he's been a great partner to work with. Of course, Scott Donald and Rob were close for a long time, working partners, and now Rob's taken over. And just appreciate your work with the school system and with the county. You're working on the judicial center too, right? So,
Yeah, we're trying about that.
but I want to be sure that Rob could give us an update on the locker room. So he's got some things to share, and then maybe we could potentially share a timeline on kind of what next steps.
Yeah.
For that. So, all right, turn it over to you.
Yeah, so Dr. Hopkins called Thursday. We've been scrambling to try to get this one sort of out the door. It's not a huge project, but it's, a little bit tricky in some of the details. We met, honestly, before Thanksgiving to talk about some finishes and whatnot, and here we are still in June, still kind of trying to chip away at the end of this. So what we decided to do is put together a few images, sort of rough images for you. That locker room is basically set up to be 2 individual locker rooms that have a door, so that if there's a big group, like if it's the football team in the fall, that they can use that whole locker room for both. But during spring sports and other sports, you can divide it up into 2, however you guys decide you want to do it. So this is sort of what the locker room portion is going to be. We sort of split it up into 2, like those 2 locker rooms we talked about, 2 bathrooms that we talked about, and then there's a training room that has kind of changed in the program these last month or so. So that's kind of what right now what we're looking at for what the locker room's going to look like. None of this stuff is absolutely cut in stone, but we're showing sort of a rubberized floor at the bottom. We're going to an epoxy floor in the bathroom with some tile on the walls. You can see through there. Red lockers, sort of that sitting bench will be almost like a stair tread, inch thick, solid. Everybody put some beefy football players on if we need to. And then some of the fine details won't show up in this, but that's sort of a shot through that. Lighting, kind of did a funky thing with the lights and put them at an angle instead of just making them straight and like grid. So hopefully that'll come off okay. Yeah, feel free to go to the next. Just another view going in the other direction. So that door that you see in the far there, that's sort of the connecting door between the 2 locker rooms, and they're sort of a mirror of each other in plan. This little bench here closest to us is actually for handicapped accessibility. In our code, they require a bench that has plenty of turnaround space in front. So it doesn't take up too much of the entire locker room, but we want to make sure we're accounting for that as well. And then you can kind of see us going back in. So you've got the locker area, and then you've got the bathroom area that's sort of set away so that all manner of rowdiness can go on here, and then you can go into the back and use the restroom facilities. We've been going back and forth on, so this is a shot of the bathroom. The rendering kind of shows tile going all the way up. We may drop that down a little bit, maybe just save a little money. Doesn't seem like it's necessary. And while we're talking about this right now, we know that so we'll just take a step back and talk about what's kind of going on with that design. As you know, that what's now the locker room was the old weight room. And when we took up all the mats, we found out that the floor in the weight room is it's a little bit banged up, and there's a couple things we're gonna have to do to try to help put that back together and change out some concrete and whatnot. So if we're kind of debating on whether to use concrete block or whether we use more tile and stuff like that, because we know that locker rooms tend to get abused, right? In a perfect world, we would just build everything out of concrete block, but since we have an existing concrete floor, we don't want to have to cut up that and put concrete block everywhere. So in the locker room part, you see that most of the chipboard walls and stuff that might get banged up are actually protected by the lockers. We don't have to worry too much about that, but in that bathroom, we know that we'll probably have to do tile finish, something like that, just to help just keep it from getting abused and people popping holes in the walls and whatnot. So I just want to mention in the partitions, we talked about maybe strengthening those up and doing a little bit different. Right now they're drawn in just your standard bathroom partition that you see just about everywhere, but we may actually build those out of block, or we may actually build a frame wall and actually put a solid door, because there's some concern in the locker room that someone might try to hang on those and try to rip those down or do something like that. So that's in the process. We're just kind of touching up that, but right now it's shown that way. This is a view. We've got a little shower, like a single shower. Sorry, do you mind going back to that last one?
Sorry.
That's talking too much.
No, it's fine.
So back in the back there, it's a single shower. We reduced it to one because we just didn't feel like there was a bunch of a need for showers in a high school locker room. It is ADA compliant. We did feel like we needed to at least have the one shower to make that, and then so essentially a shower curtain would pull across that. You have a little sitting area, and then back behind there is a full handicap shower with a wand and a seat and everything. So it's sort of tucked back behind those walls. So this is a shot front into the training room. And so we have two entries coming in, one sort of a visitor, one sort of a home entry. And so that door would be, if there's a little corridor on the outside of that, which takes from the outside through the little transition into the locker room itself. And then, yeah, this sort of stretch, we had a separate office, and then we sort of decided it might be better just to dedicate all the space to a training room. So what we've done is we've got some high cabinetry, we've got training tables. There's a little table past those first two, and that is for that machine. I don't know if I've done physical therapy a bunch, but they hook you up to this thing that stimulates, and then they put ice on you, and then they compress you. So that, I can't remember. Someone will probably know what that is.
I was about to say, is it game ready or the stem?
That's what it is, yeah. I think it's the game ready that has
I think
all
it's
that
the game
stuff.
ready.
Yeah. Yeah, so that will be on a portable table, but that will be its kind of spot. Got some hangers there to hang ropes, bands, stuff like that. The colors are sort of, again, not totally sold on that. They can change a little bit. We did show that bottom, what we call kind of a wainscot. That is actually just one of those thin panels like you might see at the doctor's office. And it's basically to keep the tables from rubbing and damaging up those chipboard walls. So those will be sort of plastered like what you see here instead of tile or something like that. I feel like it's not going to get, if we need to save a little money, we can reduce those down to what they call a rub strip. And so we can set it at the table height. But you can imagine if those tables get banged up or as chairs, it's going to get nicked up a little bit. And then instead of having a full office, we're showing in the cabinetry here on the right hand of it. There's this chair sort of dedicated to the trainer or whoever, and they can take notes there. And or if someone needs some downtime, that might be a place to sit. And the counter just stays straight across, and you can, so we're kind of thinking about it.
Is that about 400 square feet? Just to give us an idea, 350, do you remember? Somewhere.
I am not 100% sure.
I think we were approaching.
Yeah,
I think
it started out
4, like around 3, just to give y'all an idea of the square footage and that, which is a pretty good size training room compared to other. I mean, it's a good situation.
Yeah. And I'll get you the numbers for it. But yeah, I think it grew.
It grew some.
I remember there was some concern, like
that's right.
We're sort of fish nor fowl. We're not quite big enough, but we're not so small either. So I thought that was a great idea to just sort of combine all that. And then on the other side, so this is sort of looking in the other direction. So that door would enter into the other corridor. We sort of wanted to give access, say that, a kid from the visiting team, they can come in from their side, or a kid from the home team can come in from their side, just sort of keep those things separate depending on who's playing who that day. So more in the foreground, you see that chair, and then around, there's a wider wall past the cabinetry. And that's tucked in an ice maker that will sit in that room. And so maybe a little bit noisy at times, but it's nice to have it right there in the room. And so and it's going to have a drain and it'll be all set and ready to go. The flooring, it's hard to tell. I've got a sample of it here. It's sort of a blue and gray stripes. So we're thinking carpet, like a durable carpet here, sort of a walk-off mat, which is sort of rough carpet for cleats and whatnot to come in those corridors, rubber floor in the locker room itself, and then the epoxy floor in the bathrooms. So we're gonna pop some windows in that front facade of the locker room, which is that flat. You know, we're looking out.
Yeah.
So the front of it is sort of you got the red. It's the gable end wall we call it. So yeah, we just want to get some light in that training room. So that's where we are right now. Probably 85% done with the drawing, 85, 90.
Yeah.
And so I would say perfect world is the end of the week, but in the end of the month, for sure, we should have right with Dr. Robinson, we've been trying to get it done so that we can get it rolling. But yeah, any questions right now?
Do you have an estimate on the cost per square foot? If you were, what's a ballpark? Do you have any kind of?
Yeah, those are such hard questions nowadays. For a long time, we said 300 to 350. I think when we first kind of started it, but it's probably in the 450 range.
Per square foot.
Yeah, I think that we've tried to simplify, and I feel like we've got things where we can maybe punt, and scale back just a touch.
Okay.
But I think building it out of the framed walls rather than concrete block, there's a trade-off. You have to finish those walls with tile, say, just painting concrete block. But if you need the floor in place, which is what the structural engineer would like to do, instead of, then I think that's the way to go. And honestly, we decided to go that route because we just weren't getting feedback yet, so we don't want to have those answers for you. But
So I think Rob took all of the recommendations from the board into consideration. All those got put in place that y'all wanted. It's 3,600 square feet. Remember, this is wrapped with storage. So when you're looking behind and you look at this more kind of impervious material that visiting teams can't just destroy, that looking behind that, you'll have easy access to plumbing. I think that was a consideration, which is a good idea. Thank you for that. And so something gets stuffed into the toilet or something, we'll be able to get to it through that storage area back into the plumbing. Just kind of real practical thinking there. I think that's really good.
it sort of kind of lend itself to it. But
and then just, one shower really is enough at this day and age. It's, you really don't have to load up with 6 showers. It's just, kids don't shower.
I mean, I didn't when I was in high school. My son, who just graduated from Asheville High, he never did. That means they had,
So,
they didn't really have much access to it.
So we just kind of build for current, the current students. But I think it's a good design. I think it's good.
Well, definitely, I wish I'd brought a plan, but the suggestions you guys have made were also super smart. And
we did talk about stick it out front. I mean, that's probably, kind of getting that kind of thing. Maybe a patio out front too, but definitely a stick. And then it's, wrapped in sidewalk, that'll be there. And the stairs down to the existing new parking lot for folks to come up, or on a daily basis for folks that are going over to early colleges and up to the stadium, certainly for a visiting team. I think it's going to be good. So
it's gonna be nice.
the steps then, we just get the bid packet in from them, and we just bid it out, right?
Yep.
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be over half of it. It sounds like it's probably going to come.
How would you just, I started
1.4.
saying, I thought you'd do that.
It's not going to be 144.
$400.
I hope it's not. At how many square feet though?
36.
No, but that's what's it. But let's, I think you're talking 400 for the locker room portion of the 3,600.
Yeah, bathrooms are most expensive.
Yeah.
But yes, I think we have 1.4 million for a brand new building before, but just ideally we don't have the outside building.
Yeah.
And those are good points. Like we're not building the outside walls and stuff like that. So
We'll go back and look. I'll share with the board that the square footage for the locker room portion is probably
18.
Yeah, it's less.
It's
probably
less, maybe
about
2,000.
75%.
But we're still pretty high, but still even that, we gotta get that down. Yeah, so,
When will we want to pull the trigger on St. Paul's?
yeah, it's good. Yeah. Since the building is there, you mentioned Chris Odehall is still working on the floor.
Yes, yeah.
But you have a building, you have the floor, and you've got it, you have it there.
Yeah.
So kind of going in. But I like he's putting windows in, I mean, but there are certain things that we can get into it and value engineer it.
For sure.
Depending on
Yeah.
that cost.
Yeah, that epoxy floor, we're gonna pick out epoxy that honestly, it has somehow, like it's got a stretch to it. So when that floor is, might have some issues underneath, although the back part is looking better than the sort of the middle part. So that, we just thought that would be, that seems like something, because we're dealing with that floor.
Yeah.
Then with that rubber tile and the carpet, that's just gonna cover up basically whatever's kind of there. So whatever we do to fix the floor and get some more structure built into it, those other finishes should just cover that. We don't have to worry about, trying to make things look really good underneath. The finishes are paint, drywall for the most part. That tile, the back, like I said, we can drop that down a little bit. It looked really nice. I was shocked, but maybe we don't need to go quite that route. But I think other than that, there's always ways to go, and everybody has different ideas on how to save some money. It may be more than, I hate to say that, but just the way things have been going.
Yeah.
Our experiences out here,
Yeah.
it seems like someone.
Any other questions for us? Thanks for your hard work, Rob. I appreciate
Yeah,
it. And
it's
let
good.
me
I wish we had it done. We're almost there.
Yeah, we're good there. I just want to compliment you on the weight room. I mean, the design there and how it tied together, it turned out to be just a great asset to the school and just our students, but I mean, aesthetically, it's just amazing. I mean, it looks like
It's always been.
it's like it's always been there. So it's a really good design. Rob does take time, and some things we have to come back and take out. But you do a lot of great design work. I appreciate that.
I mean, I got it. Scott Donald was the one that
Did that one.
remembered that we had some drawings up there, but
Yeah.
and then Anthony, the contractor, he was working really hard to make sure the brick looked right, we tried
Yeah.
pretty hard, and I'm excited that you guys love it. I'm excited that it's getting so much use. It's just seems like it's.
There's a lot of sainthood talk going around about you, so.
What's that?
Everybody's really happy. Thank you. So,
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
It's been just a pleasure to work with you. And, I think I'm probably speaking to the choir, patience and understanding and grace and what's best for the school and the community and the kids. I think that all wrapped into one. So it's been a pleasure for me to get a chance to work out here and get to know you and all of you. I'm looking forward to hopefully some more projects together and time together. So thank you.
This
for
will be a
all you've
good
done.
first project.
Yeah.
Project manager over there. So.
But it's just been wonderful, and like I said, I just personally appreciate the grace, because I know that a lot of times I'm calling you saying, hey, we're not going to do it. So,
I remember when you came to the opening of the stadium, we're sitting up there at halftime, another deal that first night. That was pretty amazing.
yeah, that was amazing.
Really
That was
good
great.
stuff.
Yeah, great night. Really excited. So,
Well, thanks, Rob. Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank
If you guys have any questions,
Yeah.
let us know. And, thank you very much. Thank you for the privilege of getting a chance to talk to you. All right, see you.
Thank you.
Okay, drawing Sandy, Brush Creek, did you pull up the DOT? Okay, so just want to get into the DOT project at Brush Creek, and we're out there today with Ms. Mills and Ms. Cahagan, Ms. Hunsinger, and all the DOT folks. But let me start with this. This, of course, is a project that's been needed for a long time. And the number one safety component here, and this falls squarely into safety, is that every day in the afternoon, there's a ton of traffic down Brush Creek past this turn. So What this does is bring traffic in here and then start stacking traffic around this loop. And then Ms. Mills has come up with, along with Mr. Lewis, a plan to come to here and then go back into single and come here and then load at the end of this hallway, which is your K1 hallway at Brush Creek. We had a good design with a third lane for buses that ran into a roadblock because of the setback requirements for wetland areas. Okay, we ran squarely into that today, and and then down here at Brush Creek. And so what was going to happen was, to keep the bus lane here, we were going to lose that vital parking there. So we determined today you've got about four buses at Brush Creek coming in. So in the mornings is the main time you'll have buses anyway. The afternoon there is no bus traffic here. So in the mornings you'll have this lane coming in, okay, and buses will be included with student traffic. And then you'll break off into 2 lanes, which will help to alleviate this pressure in the morning. And then buses will line up in with traffic on this outside lane and go into the back of the building. So that's not going to really clog that up terribly in the morning. I mean, it ought to flow pretty well. We maintain all of this parking. They've already reduced the size of the footprint of this island. I think that's it. They've already put new curbing around it too and guttering. So that's all been done. And that's basically the difference in the project. So again, you're coming 1 lane into 2, you'll combine your buses, and we will not run the middle school buses through Brush Creek. This is really not needed at this point. That Deanna doesn't feel that. I don't think Ms. Mills feels that. I don't think Mr. Blackman feels that's necessary. But right now, that is the solution to this 50-foot setback. Now, if there is a student who's on a combined bus from the middle school and there's an emergency, if there's a student who's handicapped who needs to come through and be dropped off, then we can certainly accommodate that with this traffic pattern. But and our big cluster, if you will, is not in the morning, it's in the afternoon. So again, there's no bus traffic in the afternoon coming through, and we'll be able to get as many cars as we can off of Upper Brush Creek Road. So I think it's a good solution, and they're out there milling here, they're milling here and around. I'll send the board some pictures. I did send the board some pictures of the middle school area, but I'll send y'all some other pictures. But they're well underway, and I don't think they have a clear timeline, Lisa, but I think they're ready to start paving. They had the striping crew out there today. And
honestly, I think like reducing some of that is going to speed up the timeline just a little bit.
This year, yeah.
I feel like because before we were having to push everything out, and I think they were going to have to figure out how to strengthen that up. But now that we can't do that, I mean, I feel like it might speed it up.
I think it would be, yeah. And again, like with this being reduced, this radius here has been, I was worried about that. How are you going to get 2 lanes through?
And I feel like for some of those bigger vehicles, I mean, you're gonna know when you're starting way back there that your vehicle's not gonna get, you're not gonna be able to get beside somebody, so they'll be able to just kind of work it out as they go around. Yeah. I think that'll be okay.
Well, there's just been a lot of time and effort. I mean, gosh, Susan, your principal, Karen, you've been down with Buddy, and Jen's done a really good job of following it through, and now we're here. And again, I think the primary safety piece is those afternoon cars, not being on that road, so safety vehicles get through or just traffic. And I think you're going to have a lot of personnel, I know, assigned that first day, kind of making sure, because again, this goes from 2 to 1, so basically you've got like a Chick-fil-A line there, right? That kind of comes around here and picks up, drops off. So I think it's a very
some of those airport things.
Yeah, airport, yeah, exactly. But you've been creative, and again, that's one of these, leadership, principal, superintendent B and everything, curriculum director out there today trying to problem solve this, and did. We ran into like a brick wall here on this 3rd lane, and then let's just merge them. And then Deanna was there, let's run the middle school buses over to middle school. So, and I like what you said about the fact that those combined buses coming in on the middle school side that have Brush Creek kids, they're only walking a few feet to get
They
to.
are, and I went out there again this afternoon, just to make sure I was telling you correctly, and Lewis, I had Lewis out there too, and we walked through the whole thing,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be great. Because honestly, like, they do go right up to, I mean, it's even less than I had told you, I mean, it's like,
It's right there.
they walk this far from the
Right.
bus to the sidewalk, so they are good.
I was worried about.
And there's adults, if they're not coming straight from the middle school, they are like right at the edge of the elementary.
There is, I don't think I have a picture of it, but if y'all can picture the middle school parking lot. Do we have a picture?
Yeah, we do, right behind you.
Is it right behind? Oh, thanks, Sam. So this right here is an island. This used to come out like this behind the middle school. This has been taken out in case there is the need to come from the Brush Creek side in the future and do a loop right here and have a drop off on the passenger side, the building side. So that's there if needed. If you did have a drop off at Brush Creek, you needed to have an emergency, middle school bus went through. What you'll do is you'll come in, this will all be striped, you'll loop right here, come back around and do a drop off on the building side for safety. Go back around Patriot Place and Park. So that's something that's been added. This piece here, this island, made that impossible before. Now that's possible if needed. It's just there if needed. They're also going to, I think I felt pretty reassured that they're going to take some saved asphalt from the Brush Creek side of the project. Again, you have about $350,000 here for this, and add it back to the Brush Creek, the middle school side for potholes and fixing up that area too. So you'll have I think a pretty solid bus situation. But Brush Creek will be totally restriped and paved for the most part. A lot of it will be. And then back behind the middle school, you'll have a lot of patching and then restriping back there. Okay, so this is the drain project up top. So I think I've sent y'all, sorry about that. Yeah, I've sent y'all some pictures of this, but I'll be sure to note that, and that's part of the drain project. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions on the DOT project? Tyler Shelton, he's in charge of it. He's a good guy. He's real accessible. Lisa has his cell number. I have a report that I will send to the board. This is a very brief report from the engineering technician for this division, this district. But basically, this came in today, Jen. You saw it. It came to you too. It's on your email. It came late this afternoon. But asphalt milling was complete on June the 8th around the existing curb and gutter. So that was the island there in front of Brush Creek, in preparation for new asphalt surface. On June the 12th, 15th, and 16th, part of the existing traffic island at middle school, you just saw that, along with old curb and gutter was removed, as well as part of the roundabout island and the curb and gutter at the elementary school. The new curb and gutter was formed and poured on June the 18th and 19th, totaling to 190 linear feet. Everything so far is going well and seems to be on a timely schedule. If anyone has any questions, blah, blah, blah. So I'll send this to the board and we'll get these kind of updates on the project. Next, I'd like to recognize Ms. Gay.
What we're going to do is, this is just a draft of what we did was Sandy contacted Dean's office. So we knew it would be the 15th and 16th, but this is a draft of our retreat session for July the 16th. That was the best time that we could do that. So before I start to go through this, because I'm not going to be upset when I talk about Dr. Hoffman because we've worked together for a long time, but I'm going to share a few funny things really quickly. It take me 30 seconds. But when we first started working together, this has been a very long time ago. We were never going to be on CNN. Guess what? We made CNN. We were never going to be on Good Morning America. Guess what? We made Good Morning America. We didn't even think about a global pandemic, but we suffered through that and made it through that. And at the same time during that, we changed education completely. We went to a virtual form of education on a Saturday. Check that out. We've had threats. We've had evacuations. We evacuated the middle school and Brush Creek Elementary School in what was it, 11 minutes? Caldwell, what was it? And had them at the show. That was everybody there. And we had, I didn't say we, I had heels on that day. And we made it through it all. We did not make that happen. But he threw a football pass one time and landed into a broken, what was it, femur? not his, but
Yeah,
another,
yeah.
it was a student, so I got an ambulance ride that day. So we could go on and on about the stories and the wonderful times. Deb remembers that one probably. But the thing about it the most is he cares about people. And the thing about the most is he is positive when everybody else is negative. Period. And that's how you lead. Because everybody in the room can throw whatever they need to throw. But if you can come with a solution, which he always does, instead of the problem, that's the leader. So I have had the most best mentor I have ever had in my entire career. So that's what I wanted to say before we go to the staff thing. So anyway, so thank you, and I only hope I can pay that forward to my group that I've got behind me. So you've laid a solid foundation, so I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, back to the retreat, What we're coming with on these is we look at what we need. We look at what principals might need to be successful for the upcoming school year. So of course, I'll start that off, and I've kind of got it going. I've got some videos and different stuff, but this is what we'll do. Like, what does an effective leader or a leader look like? So we've already got that going. We've got so many different things that we're gonna add to that. Strategic plan, I think I have black ones here, but each principal has their strategic plan that they're gonna mark on each goal. Say, what do we need to add? What do we need to cross off? What do we need to do? And when I presented to you in my interview piece, I think you remember I talked about the strategic plan. This is our year for it to be up, so we have to get that going. So we'll be looking at that. Budget updates, all of this could change. Caldwell just went over a second ago about safe schools, what would be under there, just don't have that listed yet. Sandy and Jennifer will be going through the human resource side of it, what they need to get going. It's just so many different things. Now, Susan will be coming with curriculum stuff. The vertical and horizontal planning this year has been phenomenal. And we're going to continue with that at multiple different levels and incorporate some easy stuff into that as well. We'll take a break there, and that's when Dean could be here, was at 10 o'clock. So he would carry us on into lunch. Now, I've only got a few things on there. Those are just questions that we've had already. And so, but then Dean always brings the update for the year anyway. So we'll get back with him on that. The strategic planning part of that will come after lunch, and each person is assigned to a goal already, and then they're looking at that goal. We'll spend about 30 minutes, and that's our initial setting that we're getting that done. Turn it over, and then we've got the district updates about 1 o'clock, and each person will have about, we've only said they're gonna get one more handout, so they'll only about a 2-minute a piece there. And then, what does your year's growth look like? That's gonna be the biggest piece that we're gonna focus on a lot this year. And so each principal then has that moment, a brief moment. Last year they did some great presentations. Remember, 2 or 3 years ago, there was a great one too that Jimmy had done at Marseille. He incorporated the history a little bit of what it looked like, a long time ago. So they'll have theirs a year's growth. So it's gonna be a complete day. We'll end around 2 o'clock. But that's what that Thursday looks like. And so we'll end up, some of this could change, some of this could move around. Dean will add different things that we need to know. We have to get Title IX, we have to get all of those, the legalese that he'll bring to us. But at the same time, there's a lot of work that goes into that one day. We usually try to get out by 1, it just wasn't feasible this time. So our goal was to be out by 2 so that they can go back to their buildings. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. That is just a draft. Don't put that out anywhere yet, but I'll send you the updated one when we do that. So just let you know that will happen on the 16th. And normally we go to the early college for that. It just depends on the setting. We may be in here if it's better for us, so we'll decide, but it'll be on this campus area. Okay? All right. Susan, I think you're going next. So what's happened this summer?
So I'll just take a minute to share an update about our summer reading camp. If you look behind you, there's just some things, you can hear me talk all day long, but to actually show you what's going on is a lot better. So our summer reading camp begins June 10th and it'll end on June 25th, and it's a 12-day camp. We use PRC 085 money, which is our literacy money to pay for this. But it focuses on strengthening literacy skills for our 2nd and 3rd grade students. So parents received invitations, you can kind of see what the goals are, and we made it fun and themed this year, and you can see that in just a second. If you'll go to the next slide. So parents received this flyer, and it was just a passport to learning, and we tied that to our arts and letters unit, which was food and art around the world. So we tried to really, make it exciting and fun for our kids and give these children opportunities. If you're going to come to school 12 extra days, you're going to learn, but you're also going to enjoy, have some fun extracurricular activities. So we had 26 students that participated in this year's camp. And they focused, like I said, on Module 4 in Arts and Letters. Through the unit, students worked on tons of different skills. So you can kind of see what the schedule looked like and how everything, the next slide, if you'll look here, that's kind of how their schedule is. So they're at school all day long. But you can see that it's broken down based on what specific skills that those students need to work on. And also, if you're a third grader and you've not met Read to Achieve, you may have to complete a portfolio, you may have to go to fourth grade with a third grade retention. This is a law, so we have to provide this for our students, but this gives them that extra time to complete that portfolio and possibly, drop that retention label and go on to fourth grade without that label. So this just gives you an idea of what the schedules look like at all 3 elementary schools. And then on the next slide, you can just see, these are some of the things that we tried to incorporate this year to make it, if you're going to come to school for 12 days, so they did get to a visit from the Arts Council, the 4-H Cooperative Extension, the Public Library. They did tons of STEM activities, crafts. We made it fun and prized. They got a little passport. And then they have an end of camp celebration. We have one school going to a restaurant to make pizzas. We have another school doing a pool day. So just something fun. But we wanted to show you just the pictures. This is Mars Hill and Mars Hill Elementary's camp, and you can see the kiddos. And I think they visited China, so every day was a different place. They visited China there. You can see them working there for, doing a reading activity. It's all tied to that arts and letters. It's all literacy. It has to be literacy because that's where the money comes from. I believe this was from the Mars Hill. Yeah, this was Mars Hill. Is this the arts day?
They're making their globes.
Their globes. So they got to make. They loved just having the opportunity to just do those things. So if you're having to come to school, you're going to enjoy it. But you can see this is, they got to make clay, the pottery. They really enjoyed that. I think this is Brush Creek, I think. That little kid's tongue, so yeah, he's so serious. He's really focused. And the next slide, well, it's gone. Okay, but we had kids, they were really excited about being here. And when you have to do these things for kids, you want to invite them and the opportunity to go, but we tried to make it fun and inviting for them this year. So in addition to that summer reading camp, we had teacher leaders engaged in reviewing and updating all of our pacing guides, K-5. Those have all been updated for ELA and math for the 26-27 school year. And one big change, and hopefully you all have heard positive things about it, is our professional development calendars. As we developed those, we made it differentiated. So we sent surveys out, and it was like, what do you want? Not, I'm going to give you something. And if you've been a teacher at any point in time, you've got to go set through this PD. It's all differentiated PD, and it's based on what they want or need. So we've aligned all of our PD with that this year. So we're really excited about the rollout of that. And then also that 612 vertical alignment planning has been really, really powerful for our math and ELA departments, and we met with them again and planned out for the new ELA standards rollout. So those are just a few things from that we're working on, but we're really excited for the progress we're making.
Yeah, thank you. Both look really, the retreat looks great, and it looks like there are quite a few kids in some of them.
Yeah, I think we had 26 students. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I want to compliment Susan and our principals. Just some of the preliminary, the test scores are embargoed, but we can't talk about them. Susan can, we will. But they're looking really good. Some pretty big jumps. I think the board's going to be pretty happy with what, and obviously the principals will get that. We're not growth in yet, so that's we're an 80-20 model, so we have 80% of it, which is achievement, and then 20% is growth. And that growth doesn't get calculated until cows come home. It's so long to have to wait for that. And, Lisa will be advocating, Jennifer will be advocating on a state level to go to a 50-50 model on that, because growth is high. Lisa's putting an emphasis on that as part of her vision for the schools, but that growth, that academic growth piece is critical based on your data as a student. How are you progressing, against the average? And, it's that's what we want as parents, is academic growth, and so having that get to 50%, but that other 20% is still to come in, but what we're seeing so far is very positive. So, really good. Last thing, I did want to, y'all had a summer update last month just on some projects. I wanted to put some timelines with it so y'all could just see a couple things have been added since then. But again, storm drains installed. I'll get some pictures to you. Mr. Hamlin's up there, but we're looking at about 2 more weeks on that one. The new LVT flooring installed in the library at Hot Springs. We have some pictures, but I'll share those with the board later. Yeah, it's really nice at Hot Springs. The library is totally refloored there. That luxury vinyl tile, LVT, no wax tile. It's just really great stuff. And then, of course, new tile going in at Mars Hill, and that'll be July 17th. Should be a 2-week, maybe 3. But got your new gym floor, looks good. So, but that's for the K2 hallways, and then all hallways, cafeteria, kind of common areas throughout the building. So it's a big project for Mars Hill. Very, very good. Switchgear is replaced. We, of course, got that approved. We have to do a design on that for DPI planning, which Rob is going to help us with, and Haynes is looking at getting us a design on that switchgear because they're considering it a safety thing. But we, everything's paid for, it's been approved. We just have to jump that hurdle. And DPI actually said, hey, requiring this, we'll pay for the design because we need it for DPI planning. So we're working with them right now. I already sent that to Rob to get the design if Haynes can come through with it. But regardless, that switchgear will go in first week of August. And then the new chiller, which is money's been set aside, that's been approved by the board. But that's set for the 10th of August. So that's one to keep an eye on in terms of timing. We got the 17th, of course, in that week. But it can't, we gotta have a chiller, so we did get the parts for the old chiller today. So at least that could be either delayed, but it depends on, make sure it gets here, kind of keep it up manual when it's coming. It may take, it's a 3-day installation, so it may take 3 days and try to work through that with the faculty somehow, or wait until the time when you can put it in. Yes. So, but that's supposed to be, and there was nothing we could do about it. It was an 8-week turn on the chiller. So. Reworking doors at the 4th grade hall. Our guy has just been out, right?
Yeah, answer.
So we've been told first week of August, so try to stick to that. Installed guardrail, y'all see that behind the field house and that behind here in this parking lot. Paint to resurface the gym at the middle school. I think it looks really, really good. First grade, next, you have a good reason, it's great. New tile in the gym office at Mars Elementary, so that was needed there. Installed LED parking lot lights at Brush Creek, Mars Hill, and Madison BOE. So you can assemble spacecraft in all of our parking lots now. These things are really bright. So we got a call from NASA the other day, like, what is that? But we have had a few neighbors that have had some concerns. So, but we try to accommodate those neighbors too. And some of them are just, I mean, it's a half-mile away to the school. So we'll work through those individually, but we can't really do anything about it. It's a school and there's lights, but we'll always listen to folks. The new heating and cooling units here at Central, we have 3 more coming. Sam from French Broad said they're on the boat over. 2 have already been installed in finance and child nutrition, and then your office, Miss Caldwell or Miss Hunsinger's office is next, and I think. Do you know what the 3rd one is, Sandy? Maybe EC. Are you getting any chiller? It could be your office.
Caroline.
Caroline. It's Caroline. That's right. Thank you. It's Caroline. Got 3 more coming in. So heating and cooling. I think yours is the one that's pretty good. Yeah. But those are the major projects coming up with timelines. Get summer stuff done. And of course, is working really well.
Sir, anything else? Okay. Moving into policy. May I have a motion to approve the following policies on first reading? 4050 children of military families, 4120, domiciles and residence requirements, 4240, 7312, child abuse and related threats to child safety, 4270, 6145, concussion and head injury, 5150, 7313, reporting to external agencies, 6310, organization of student transportation service, 7910, retirement, 1600, governing principal professional development, 2302, remote participation in board meetings, 4130, discretionary admission, 4150, school assignment, 4152, unsafe school choice transfer, and 7425, school administrator contract. May I have a motion to approve these, approve the following policies on the first reading?
Make a motion to approve the policies on first reading.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? As you read through these, you'll see that most of them are just little, either footnote change or modifying language. There's nothing major in any of them. So, all right, all in favor? Thank you. Mr. Wallen is out of town, and you found in your board packet Mr. Wallen's reports in there. And if you notice, under fines and forfeitures, they're down again. It was down like $4,700. Agree on that. All right, the consent agenda. Yeah. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda of personnel? Let's see, Madison County Schools Procurement Plan, School Nutrition Program, 2025-2026, year-end resolution, 2026-2027, Madison County Schools interim local budget, 2026-2027, school nutrition budget, 2026-2027, ECEC budget, and then the budget amendments. May I hear a motion?
I'm sorry.
Oh, and I forgot one. I'm going for it.
Oh,
Thank you. And then the last one, the contractual agreement with a licensed physical therapist, and Madison County Schools for July 1st of 2026 through June 30th, 2027. All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion. We approve the consent agenda.
Sir, second? Second. All in favor? Okay, Mr. Coates, citizen participation.
One.
All right, Mr. Graham, nice to see you.
Well, happy summer to all, and also want to express my appreciation to Dr. Hoffman for your leadership. I often brag about your ability to have your eyes to the hills and nose to the grindstone. You know, as a leader of the school district, I think it's just been an inspiration for me. And as a leadership management consultant, I've had a chance to kind of tell people how amazing you've been. And I've got every confidence that Mr. Hagan is going to be able to carry things forward. Just a few comments as we approach the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and having just observed Juneteenth last Friday, I'm hoping we can commit ourselves to honoring and teaching what the founders of our country hope to see in the future. Some of the powerful quotes that express the core values of liberty, equality, and the rights of individuals. You've heard these. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. and there are others. Juneteenth was a reminder that it took nearly 91 more years after the Declaration of Independence to outlaw slavery to come closer to endowing citizens with unalienable rights. But then Jim Crow laws and other sinister efforts stripped what should have been rights accessible to all. Still today, there are forces in our current administration that seek to erase Black history from public institutions, targeting museums, libraries, and digital archives that have long preserved the truth of America's past. Court cases are reversing some of the damage, but not nearly all. A central pillar of American democracy is to recognize and correct inequalities where they exist. It may take decades to reverse the damage that has been done in the past 18 months. It's important for young people to know that America is a nation that has made mistakes, particularly in oppressing various groups, but also that America has made changes to correct wrongs and will always need to do so. Because we have freedom, wrongs can be identified by free speech, the free press, and free elections, which we hope will continue to be free. Hope for a better tomorrow needs to be combined with regret for past wrongs and positive efforts to change. This is the kind of patriotism that children, young people, and all citizens need to learn. And I hope we can celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence by committing ourselves to justice for all and to the bright future that the signers hoped for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any new business? No. Next month in July, we will meet on the 20th for our regular meeting. 5 o'clock will be closed, 5:30 is work, 6 is open, and Ms. Gagan will be sitting right up here. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn the Madison County Board of Education meeting?
Make that motion.
Were you getting ready to make that motion? Second. All in favor? Thank you all. Appreciate being here. Thank you.